Picture this. It's a quiet, ordinary night in the sky above Southeast Asia. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a massive Boeing 777, cruises smoothly at 35,000 feet. The stars glimmer above, the ocean sleeps below, and everything seems perfectly normal. Then, silence. No distress call, no warning, no signal. Just gone. 239 people, passengers, pilots, crew, vanish into thin air. One of the most technologically advanced planes on Earth disappears without a trace. What happened to Flight MH370? Why, in an era of constant connectivity, could a modern aircraft simply vanish? And how could a mystery this massive remain unsolved to this day? This is the chilling story of the disappearance of Flight MH370, an aviation enigma that still haunts the world. It was March 8, 2014. Flight MH370 was scheduled for a routine red-eye trip from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to Beijing, China. The aircraft was a Boeing 777-200ER, reliable, powerful, and built to fly thousands of miles non-stop. There were 239 souls on board, 227 passengers from 14 different nations, and 12 Malaysian crew members. Among them were families, students, professionals, and seasoned flight attendants. The captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, was an experienced and respected pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. At 12:41 a.m., MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport and climbed smoothly to cruising altitude. Air traffic control maintained normal contact. At 1:19 a.m., Malaysian controllers made their final radio call. "Good night, Malaysian 370. A calm voice responded, "Good night, Malaysian 370. It would be the last thing anyone ever heard from the flight.
Malaysian 370. Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
2 minutes later, 1:21 a.m., MH370's transponder was switched off. The plane vanished from civilian radar screens. At that moment, the mystery began. Initially, no one panicked. Losing radar contact isn't unheard of. But as minutes turned into hours, and MH370 failed to contact Vietnamese air traffic controllers or land in Beijing at the scheduled 6:30 a.m., alarms started blaring. The plane had completely disappeared. Military radar later revealed something shocking. MH370 didn't just vanish, it turned. It deviated from its planned route, made a sharp left turn, and headed back across the Malay Peninsula, then out over the Strait of Malacca. After that, it flew into darkness. What followed was a massive international search effort, the largest in aviation history. The initial search was chaotic. Efforts focused first on the South China Sea, where the plane was last tracked. But days into the operation, Malaysian military radar showed that the plane had flown west, completely off course. Soon after, British satellite company Inmarsat dropped a bombshell. MH370 had been pinging satellites for over 6 hours after losing contact. The satellite data revealed 2 possible corridors the plane could have taken. One headed north toward Central Asia. One headed south, deep into the remote southern Indian Ocean. Because no countries along the northern corridor had picked up any radar activity, the world shifted its eyes south. A desolate, unforgiving place with no islands, no landmarks, just endless ocean. The Australian-led search in the southern Indian Ocean became a multinational operation. Advanced planes, ships, submarines, and sonar equipment were deployed. Search vessels scoured 120,000 square kilometers of seabed. They found nothing. No wreckage, no black boxes, no bodies. It was like the ocean had swallowed the plane whole. But then, over a year later, finally, a clue surfaced. On July 29, 2015, a piece of wing debris called a flaperon washed ashore on Réunion Island, off the coast of Africa, more than 4,000 miles from the suspected crash site. Tests confirmed it belonged to MH370. Later, more debris appeared on beaches in Mozambique, Madagascar, Tanzania, and South Africa. Small fragments of the plane, damaged but recognizable. These pieces proved MH370 crashed in the ocean, but they told us nothing about why or how. With no concrete answers, the world turned to theories, some grounded in evidence, others spiraling into speculation. 1. Pilot suicide. One of the most controversial theories suggests that Captain Zahari intentionally crashed the plane. Evidence? Flight simulator data found at his home mimicked a similar path to the one MH370 is believed to have taken. The aircraft's sharp, deliberate turn westward. The transponder and communications were manually disabled, suggesting human intervention. But there's a problem. Zahari had no known motive, no signs of radicalization, distress, or a death wish. He was a family man, beloved by colleagues. Still, this theory remains the most supported among some experts. 2. Hijacking. Was MH370 taken over? In the early days, attention focused on 2 passengers flying with stolen passports, but they turned out to be Iranian asylum seekers. Nothing to suggest foul play. No group ever claimed responsibility. No demands, no ransom, no threats. If it was a hijacking, it was unlike any in history. 3. Crew or passenger takeover. Could someone inside the plane, other than the pilots, have taken control? There's no evidence of a struggle, and nothing in the background checks of passengers raised red flags. But again, the cockpit door was never opened from the inside after the last transmission. 4. Mechanical failure and hypoxia. Another theory suggests a slow decompression at high altitude rendered everyone on board unconscious, leaving the plane to fly on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. The descent and final crash would have happened after hours of silent flight. But why the drastic course change? And why didn't anyone, pilot or passenger, send a distress signal? Between 2014 and 2017, Australia led the most advanced underwater search ever attempted, mapping unexplored ocean floor and scanning for wreckage. It cost over $150 million. Still, no trace of the plane. In 2018, a private company, Ocean Infinity, launched a new search using unmanned drones. They offered a no find, no fee deal to the Malaysian government. Their search was equally high-tech and equally fruitless. In July 2018, Malaysia released its final investigative report, and it disappointed nearly everyone. It confirmed the plane was airworthy. No evidence of mechanical failure or pilot suicide. Air traffic control made critical errors in the early hours. But the cause? The team is unable to determine the real cause for the disappearance of MH370. A harsh truth. Behind the data and the mystery are 239 real people. 153 were Chinese nationals, 50 Malaysians. Others came from Australia, Iran, India, France, and the United States. Entire families were lost. Children, couples on vacation, artists, engineers, dreamers. Their relatives were left in limbo, not knowing if their loved ones suffered or if they might even be alive somewhere. For years, some clung to hope. Others demanded answers. Many still do. Annual memorials are held. Advocacy groups continue to push for renewed searches. And as of 2025, Ocean Infinity is planning a third search attempt with even more advanced technology. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 changed aviation forever. In the wake of the disappearance, the global aviation industry was forced to confront uncomfortable truths. How could such a massive aircraft vanish in the 21st century without a trace? The incident triggered a wave of reforms meant to ensure such a mystery could never happen again. One of the most significant changes was the introduction of mandatory global aircraft tracking. Airlines are now required to report a plane's location every 15 minutes, even when flying over remote stretches of ocean. This was a direct response to MH370's vanishing act and the painful realization that for hours, no one knew where the plane was or where it was heading. Authorities also extended the lifespan of black box pingers, the small devices attached to flight recorders that emit locator signals. Previously, their signals would last for 30 days. After MH370, it was clear that wasn't enough. those signals now last longer, giving search teams more time to find wreckage in deep, isolated waters. Another advancement came in the form of satellite-based tracking, like ADS-B, which allows real-time monitoring of aircraft almost anywhere on the planet. This technology wasn't widely implemented before MH370, but now it's become essential for modern aviation safety. Beyond the technical upgrades, MH370 changed how people feel about flying. There's a vulnerability now, a realization that even with all our modern tech, we are not immune to the unknown. It shook our confidence in systems we believed were infallible. It reminded us that there are still corners of this world where secrets can hide and silence can last forever. A decade has passed, and still, we don't know why MH370 disappeared. No final words from the cockpit, no confirmed flight path, no wreckage at the crash site, no closure. It remains aviation's greatest mystery. But perhaps the most chilling part isn't just the disappearance, it's the silence that followed. A modern aircraft, with state-of-the-art systems, vanished without a trace. So, what really happened to flight MH370? Was it deliberate sabotage, a system failure, a moment of madness, or something else entirely? Until the wreckage is found, until the black boxes are recovered, we may never know. But the story of MH370 endures, not just as a mystery, but as a human tragedy. A reminder of how fragile life can be, even at 35,000 feet, and how sometimes the greatest mysteries are not locked in history books, but still flying in the wind, waiting to be found. Another mystery uncovered, but many more remain hidden in time. Subscribe and join us as we unravel history's greatest secrets. The next story is closer than you think.